Okay, good afternoon. Welcome back. I hope we've all had our little sandwiches. You know, in the Gambia, usually lunch is not usually ready on time, especially in the combos. So, well, if you had your sandwich, then it's fine. If you don't have it also, it's fine.
Savovana is not fine if you don't have it.
Well, unless you are a Jeda Kundanka. You know, Jeda Kundankas like to eat too much. So, if you are not Jeda Kundanka, then you are fine. But the Jeda Kundankas will not be fine. Where's Janko? If you don't mind, he's eating somewhere. Okay, so I think we can go ahead. We looked at only the first part of the question, and we determined the extent of the limiting factor. Okay, so the next step we're going to do is to calculate the contribution per unit. Okay, so step 2. In step 2, we're going to calculate contribution per unit. Okay? So take note, this contribution per unit, its only purpose is to calculate the total contribution and subsequently profit calculation. But it is not going to be used to gauge, it's not going to be used to gauge our optimal production planning. Our optimal production planning will always be based on the limiting factor. So the next contribution we're going to calculate will be the contribution per limiting factor, contribution per machine hours that will be used to rank our products so that we know which one we can produce first, so we can have the highest possible profit with the limiting factor. Is that clear? Okay, let me grab some coffee. You see, everything in life is about planning. See, before I came, I knew I was going to stay until late. I brought my meat pie and stuff. So you see, I just took my last meat pie. I'm taking some coffee, and then that will keep me going until in the evening. See, this life is not about always eating the lunch from the house, but sometimes you got to plan and take your sandwich along and stuff, so that you can keep going. Sorry, give me 1 minute. Let me do my coffee. Okay, so I'm good to go. So let's calculate our contribution per unit. So how do we calculate our contribution per unit here?
Selling price per unit.
Mm-hmm.
That's the variable cost per unit.
Excellent, good. So for each of the product, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we have product M and product N. So we have our XP, selling price. What's our selling price? Product P?
40.
40. For N?
30.
30. Okay. What's our variable cost per unit? I just sorted it. VC. For P?
16.
16. These are all in the question. for N
15.
and 5. Right? So our contribution per unit will be this. Okay, so we say equals, click on C17 minus C18, we replicate. So our contribution per unit is 24 and 15 respectively. Okay, right. So our step three will be calculating our contribution per scarce resource. So in this case, it will be our contribution per machine hour. Okay, so step 3. Calculate contribution per machine hour. Okay, are we together? Okay. So let's align this on the right so that we can, our presentation can look better. The reason is if you type a text, by default, it's aligned to the left. If you type a number, by default, it's aligned to the right. So if you're working and you type a number and it automatically aligns itself on the left, you know that it's a number. It's not a number. Okay, it might look like a number, but then Excel or spreadsheet consider it as a text. I'll show you an example in a minute. Okay, so we highlight this and align to the right. For example, if you have a number like this, let's say you prefix this with a single inverted comma. Okay, you will not see the, okay, given a single inverted comma, right, okay. Right, so this is not common. Let's see. Because I have, okay, we just leave it free alignment. Okay. Wow, okay. Google Sheet does not do it actually, but with Excel, once the number is mixed with either a wildcard or an alphabet, it automatically aligns itself to the left. Okay. I just want to test it with Google Sheet, but it does not, it looks like it's not working with Google Sheet, but Excel, it does exactly like that. Okay, so let's proceed. Just want to show you how that works so that we try to kill two birds with one stone. We're not only learning management accounting, but we can learn spreadsheet knowledge as well. Like I keep saying, as accountants, you can't go without the spreadsheet knowledge. It is very, very, very important, just like the subject knowledge. Okay. Right, so step 3, we calculate the contribution per machine hour. Okay, so we've already got our contribution per unit. So to calculate our contribution per machine hour, what are the two numbers that we need? What are the two numbers?
I think we are going to take the 5,000.
No, what we're going to calculate here is the contribution per machine hour.
Is it not
Okay.
the...
We've already got our contribution per unit. So we need two things to calculate our contribution per machine hour.
Sorry, is it going to be like the selling price minus this fixed cost per unit?
No, we've already calculated our
It's 8
contribution
divided by
per unit.
24.
So contribution is calculated. So we are going to find the contribution per scarce resource. Our scarce resource is machine hour. So we need to calculate our contribution per machine hour. So we need two things.
You're gonna take the machine hour divided by
Exactly.
the
So we need
contribution
our
per
machine
unit.
hours per unit, and then we divide by our contribution per unit because we already got our contribution per unit. Okay? So let's have our machine hour per unit. Okay. Where is our machine hour per unit? Has it been given in the question? Yes. What are they?
5 and 8.
No, 8 and 3.
8.
8 and 3. Who is saying 5? Where is
Yeah.
5? Where do you see 5? It's 8 and
It's
3.
a
It has been
mistake.
Eight and
It's
3.
8 and 3.
8 and 3.
There you go. So now, what is our contribution per machine hour?
8 and 3.
CONPRIB machine HR. Okay. So what's our contribution per machine hour? What's our contribution per machine hour?
$24 divided by 8 and 15 divided by 2.
Equals to C22
Okay. So how can we do that in Excel?
divided by
It's equals to
Okay. We do. We do.
equals to C19 divided by C22.
So we say equals.
C19
C19
divided by C22.
divided by. Oh my God! I cannot find divided by key on my.
Okay. slash.
Huh? Slash. Which slash? Are we looking? There are 2 slashes. You know that the slashes are 2?
Yes, but I'm not having computer right now.
Yeah, but you should know that offhand. So which slash are we looking for? The front slash or the back slash?
slash to the right.
Huh? Is it the front slash or the back slash? You have to identify these things before somebody uses a wrong one.
It's the front slash.
How do you determine whether it's a front slash or back slash? A front slash is the one that bends to the right, whilst the back slash is the one that bends to the left. So the division sign in spreadsheet is always the front slash. The front slash, if you don't know, is the same key with the question mark. So they share the same key. So if you press the question mark key, you'll get the division sign, the front slash, automatically without pressing any shift key. Okay? So we press that. So we have our division. And now we hit which other key? Which other key do we hit? So we say C19 front slash what?
C22.
C22. Okay. Enter. So we replicate. Simple. See how useful it is when you do it with spreadsheet? And you must be able to know this. Very, very, very important. That's why I'm taking all this trouble so that you people can understand. So I am going to do my bits. Everything else remains on your head. And that is practice, practice, practice. You need to practice this if you want it to stay. Okay? And if you practice it, you are proficient in it, you will see the benefits. It's very, very, very. If there is any tool which is important for your life as an accountant, I bet spreadsheet is the most important tool for you. You can't go without it. Okay? You can, well, unless you are a lazy accountant, you know, and if you want to get promoted, you know, to work up to any level internationally, you must be good at spreadsheet. That one, there is no two-way to it. So please take note of that. Okay, so our contribution per machine hour is £3 per machine hour for M, £5 per machine hour for N. Yes?
Mr. Fofana, I'm sorry, I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
You know, a while ago. I want to know how you machine out.
Sorry?
I said I need to know how you got the contribution per machine hour. I lost connection a while ago, please. Sorry.
Yes, Rabiatu, we will answer it. Never mind. Don't worry. The way we got the contribution per machine hour is we first calculate our contribution per unit. We are, as you can see here, 24 for M and 15 for N. Now we are given machine hours per unit, which is 8 for M and 3 for N. Now we want to find the contribution per machine hour. We simply take the contribution per unit for each product divided by the machine hour per unit. So that's exactly what we have done here. As you can see on the formula here, it is equals C19, which is the contribution per unit for M, divided by C22, which is the machine hour per unit for M. Okay, we do the same thing for M. Is that clear now, Rabiatu? Is that clear?
Yes, it's clear. Thank you. Yes.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so let's move to step 4 now. If we're fine, let's move to step 4. Let's move to step 4. So step 4, we are going to, actually before step 4, we need to, at step 3, we need to do our ranking. Okay, we need to do our ranking. Okay, so we do our ranking. Ranking means we're going to rank according to the most profitable product as per the scarce resource. Okay, and that will be the product with the highest contribution per hour, isn't it? So, like I said to you, when you look at the contribution per unit, it is not a determinant factor because it does not put into consideration the limiting factor. So we cannot use that as our basis for our limiting factor decision. So instead, we are going to use the contribution per machine hour, okay, the contribution per machine hour, because our problem is the machine hour. So any product that's going to give us the highest contribution per machine hour is what we're going to produce first. Simple, okay? So which one are we going to produce first?
Product
N.
Product N. So product N becomes first. And what about product M? Of course, there are only 2 will be second. So in other words, we have to make sure we produce everything of N, and whatever hours that are remaining will be used to produce M. Because by producing M, we are going to make more profit according to our scarce resource. Look at it, £5 per hour versus £3 per hour, okay? In terms of contribution. Good. So now we're going to go to step 4. Step 4. So in step 4, we are going to develop our optimal or our most profitable production plan using the available hours. So develop optimal optimal means most profitable. Optimal means most profitable production. I hope you people are following. Those that have computers are doing this on their computer, and those that don't have computers are doing it on their book. If you're not doing that also, I mean, it's okay because I will still share these files with you. What is important is you need to understand, you need to know how we calculate each of them. Very, very important, okay? So step 4, we develop optimal, which is most profitable production plan using our available hours, using 5,000 hours. So we're going to develop our optimal or most profitable plan using the hours that are available. Okay? Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to do that together with our, of course, profitability. So we're going to add step 4 and step 5 together. Okay? We're going to add step 4 and step 5 together. Okay? So we do it in tabular form. It's usually easier that way. So step 5, I'm going to do that, our profitability statement. So step 5 will be optimal profitability statement. Optimal profitability. Okay. So step 4 and step 5, we're going to put them together. So, right. Are we following? I'm going to go down and then I'll do my table. So first, I'll have my products. Okay. And then number 2, the second column will be the units that we're going to need for each, the machine hours, the contribution,
Yes.
the contribution per unit, the total contribution, so we have our, I'm going to add these 2 columns. I'm going to expand them a bit. Okay, since they will have monetary units, let me just format them to take numbers with 1,000 separator, but no decimal place. Okay, so we are putting step 4 and step 5 together, but we're going to do step 4 first and then step 5. So step 4 is our most profitable production plan, meaning with the 5,000 hours, how many units should we produce? Okay, so we're going to start our production with week of the products, product M or product N?
Product
Look
M.
at our ranking. Ranking is
Product
very
N.
good. So I'm going to make our ranking bold, and I'll make it, I'll color it blue. So we're going to, these are our products also. So I'll make them blue also, so they can stand out. Okay. So we're starting with product N, isn't it? Okay. So product N. Now, product N. How many units should we produce of product N?
Everything.
Everything. And what is everything? What is everything?
500.
500 units.
500. Excellent. Okay. So if we produce 500 units of product N, how many hours are we going to use? How many hours do we need to produce each unit of product N? How many hours?
3.
1,500.
Excellent. Excellent. Look at it. Please follow this, because a limiting factor decision is always a problem for students because they don't understand the concepts behind it. So that's why I take it step by step and we answer it rationally. You don't have to memorize anything. Okay? Please, please. And limiting factor questions are always favorable to examiners. Okay? If you're expecting questions on short-term decision-making, limiting factor is one of the favorites. Okay? So take note of it. It's very, very simple concept. You don't have to memorize anything. Okay? So what we have done, we have calculated our contribution. Number 2, we have calculated our contribution per our scarce resource. And then we did the ranking. Ranking simply, we know that if we say we have a problem, when we're trying to solve anything, we must start solving our problem. Our problem is machine hours. So if we have to produce based on our problem, we have to produce the product that will give us the highest benefits as per our problem. And that is our contribution per machine hour. The highest is 5, naturally, so we have to start producing that first. So we know if we produce the whole of product N, that means we are producing 500 because that is what is budgeted. Simple. No rocket science, nothing, simple. Okay, so if we produce the whole of N, how many hours are we going to utilize? Simply, we know if you have to produce each unit of product N, you need 3 hours per unit to produce. So simply you come here and say equals 500 units multiplied by, the 3 hours is already here. So there is no need for you to type 3 again. 3 is already on your answer sheet. So please don't type it, because the benefit of this is in case you make mistake here in your calculation, once you come and change here, everything else will change. Okay? So
sorry,
we come
Mr. Fofana.
3 here and we enter. Yes, sir.
Yes, I think we already calculated on top also. This 1,000.
Yeah. Exactly. If you look at it, this one also, we used the, how to call it, the results that are here already. The same thing here. So once you have something already done and you need to calculate on it, just use the cell reference of it. You don't have to type it. Is that clear?
Yes.
Excellent. Shall we move? So far, so good?
Yeah,
Okay.
we can proceed.
Okay. So now we know we have only 2 products. If it is not product N, it's product what? If it is not N, it's what?
M.
Okay, it's M. So now we have to calculate. We have to calculate the total number of hours, and we remove the hours that we're going to use for N, and whatever remains will be the hours that we're going to utilize for M. So let's go down and do our total. Okay. So our total here for hours will be what? 6,300 or what?
5,000.
5,000. Why 5,000?
That is the limiting factor.
5,000 is what is available.
Yeah, it's what is available.
Okay, it's 5,000 hours that is available. We need 6,300, as we have seen here. We calculated and then we agreed that we need 6,300. But unfortunately, we don't have 6,300. The machine cannot run for 6,300 hours. The machine can only run for 5,000 hours. So whatever we do, we have to plan based on the 5,000 hours and not the 6,300. We cannot do 6,300. So we come here and type what is available, which is 5,000. Okay, and then naturally, what is available for M will be the difference of what? What is available for M will be the difference of what?
Between the total and for what is
The
available.
difference of the 2.
The difference of the 2. And what are the 2? The 2 are the total available
5,000
and what N
1,000.
has already utilized. So what formula do we put here? Equals? Yes? What formula do we put here?
D33
Equals D33,
minus
minus
D31.
D31, we enter. Excellent. So we have what? 3,500 hours. Okay, this 3,500 hours, how many units can we produce with that? How many units can we produce with 3,500 hours?
I think it is going to be like 3,500 divided by Divided by machine per hour of product M.
Machine hour per unit.
Mm.
Okay, so we know that to produce 1 unit of product M, we need 8 hours. So if we have 3,500 hours, how many units can we produce? Simply, we divide the total hours by 8 to give us the unit. Simply. So we say equals D32 divided by C22, because C22 is already the machine hour per unit. Then we enter. Okay, so it's trying to yes, we're not replicating. Okay, so we have 438. But this 438 has been rounded up. Okay, we don't want it to round up because it's what? It's a product. So the number of units for product M is not actually 438, but 437. Okay, so should we go for 437 or 438?
437.
Huh?
437.
Why not 438? But it's more than, it's 437.5. Why can't we round it up?
Since the number of, I think there are limiting factor, that's why.
No, that's no, that's not the reason actually. The reason is very simple. The reason is very simple. We are talking about units of a product.
Yes, we cannot produce half product.
There you go. There you go. There you go. And when we produce 437.5, it's not possible. You understand? We can either produce 437 or 438. But since we have already got 437, the 0.5 cannot be a product because 0.5 is less than a product. So it has to be a full product and not nothing but a full product. It cannot be part of a product because if it is part of a product, it's not a product. You understand? So that's the logic behind it. So what we should get is only 437. Okay? Good. Good, good, good. So let's proceed. Now, there's a function that you can use, the round function and so on, but let's not bother ourselves with that now. Let's just override it and say 437. Otherwise, it will affect us in the calculation. So let's just type over it 437. Okay? So let's just type over it 437, and then that will give us 437 exactly. So I'll reduce the DP to 0. So we have 437. Good. So now, let me make this to 1000 separator under 0 dp. Okay. Then this is our optimal production plan. So this is our step 4. Our optimal production plan actually is producing 500 units of N and producing 437 units of M. So this is our optimal production plan. So the last part of it is the optimal profitability. So we need to calculate our optimal profitability. So based on this, we need to now find our contribution. So what's the contribution per unit for N and our contribution per unit for M? So which one do we take? This?
15.
Okay, or this?
I think we take the contribution per machine hours.
We take the contribution per machine hour to calculate our contribution per unit, huh?
No, I think it should be.
No, the contribution itself. The contribution per unit.
Yima, look at the heading. It says contribution per unit. How can it say contribution per unit and then you go and put contribution per machine hour? I told you the contribution per machine hour is only for ranking. It's only to take a decision so you can be able to know your optimal production plan. As simple as that. But when you are calculating the profitability, it's the contribution per unit because it's the units that you are dealing with. It's the units that you have calculated, your optimal units. Okay? So
Yeah.
what is our production? What is our contribution per unit for M?
It's 15.
Okay. Here also we can avoid to we don't have to type. Let's link it, because if we link it, in case there is a problem, in case there is a calculation error in this contribution we have calculated, once we correct that, this is going to change automatically. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So our contribution per unit, we're going to link it here. So how we link it, we just press equals, and then we go and click on the cell that has got that. So we say equals, and then we go and click D19. We enter. Okay. Then we say equals. For M, we go and click C19. We enter. So look at them. Our contributions are 15 and 24. Let's say we made a mistake. We made an error when we were doing our contribution. Yeah, we made a mistake when we were doing our contribution. Let's say the sales was supposed to be 40, or the sales was supposed to be 50, but instead we entered 40. So let's change the sales to 50. Once you change to 50, look at what's going to happen. The contribution per unit has changed to 34. Look at it here. Has it not changed?
Yeah, it's changed.
Okay, very good. So this is a very effective way of creating your templates, creating your work, so that if one thing changes tomorrow, everything else will change. Okay, so I just did that as an example. So I just undo so that we get the correct one, which is 40. So I just went and clicked on the undo option, and it has taken me back to what it should be. Give me 1 second. Let me pick this call. 1 second, please. Okay, so so we've already got our contribution per unit already linked, and we have seen how beneficial the linking is. If one thing changes, everything else changes here. Okay, so now to calculate our total contribution, what formula should we put here?
I think we take the contribution per units multiplied by the number of units.
Okay, so we take contribution per unit multiplied by number of units. So Numa, we say equals. Tell me the cell reference. Is it going to be D31 multiplied by E31? Numa?
It's going to be E31.
E31,
multiplied by C31.
Multiplied by C31. Be careful not to mix the two, because it's very tempting. You can use the hours instead. The D column has got 1 hours. So we are trying to find contribution per unit. So it is the unit multiplied by the contribution per unit. Okay, not hours. Okay, and then we replicate. We don't do anything here. Okay. So we have 7,500 and 10,488. 10,488. Okay, so what's our total contribution? Our total contribution, we can add it here as well. So we can do our form, our sum function equals sum, bracket opens. Then we click from here, right here, we close our bracket, we enter. So our total contribution is 17,988. Okay. So if you want to see some of these formulas, it's very simple. You go to the view menu and then say show formulas. Once you say this, it shows you all the formulas. So once you click on it, it will be able to tell you where they are getting the source from. Okay. So we can go back and show the answer instead of the formula. Are you following? Okay, so we're going to move on. We're going to move on, right? We're going to move on. So we've calculated the total contribution. Now what is left? We're trying to find the profitability. So we've got our contribution. What is left now? What is left? When you are calculating your profit, if you put your sales, you put your variable cost, you have your contribution, what else do you consider before you arrive at your profit?
The
You
fixed
minus
cost.
the fixed cost.
Fixed cost. Excellent. And the fixed costs have been given
Overhead
in the
and fixed cost.
question. So we calculate our fixed cost. Okay. So be careful here. Our fixed cost, as per the question, is 10 per unit for M and 8 per unit for N. Okay. So now is this 10 and 8 that we have to multiply by the units. So which units are we going to, so we can do our fixed cost calculation here. Yeah, we can do it here actually, because we know. So can someone tell us how we're going to calculate our fixed cost?
Let me try.
Yes.
I think it is going to be like the fixed cost per unit times this 500 and 437.
437. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Do you agree to that, class?
Mr. Fofana?
No.
Yes.
I think the fixed
Hello?
cost, it does not change.
Okay. So, okay. Thank you. Omar has rectified himself. Omar has rectified himself. So simple. The fixed cost does not change with the activity level. The fixed cost that we have on our statement is based on the 600 units for M and 500 units for N. So it will change if the 600 units has gone up or down, and it will change if the 500 units has gone up or down. Okay? So if we produce less units, we're still going to pay for the 600 units for M, and we're still going to pay 500 for N. Simple. So fixed cost does not change because this is an agreement. Okay? It's like rent, like I was always giving you. It's like rent. So we agree that we are going to pay this much. So whether your how to call it, whether your cost changes, whether your activity level changes or not, it doesn't matter. Okay. So now we're going to calculate. So we say equals. We're going to put in brackets. First will be 600 multiplied by what? 600 multiplied by what?
10.
10. Excellent. We close the bracket, we say plus, bracket opens, 500 multiplied by
8.
8.
8. Bracket closes. We enter. Let me see. So we have our 10,000 like that. So we cannot use 437. No, because our fixed cost was based on our budgeted quantities, our budgeted units. So that is not gonna change. Okay, so we can put this, of course, in brackets so that, so we've got everything in brackets, but we can make it minus. So if we make it minus, it's gonna give us, so we can put minus and we open bracket and open closes, then that will give us minus 10,000, okay? So now we calculate our maximum profit, max. So our maximum profit is 17,988 as our total contribution less our fixed cost. So since we have the fixed cost as a negative, we can just add them. We can say equal sum, bracket opens from here to here, and then we close the bracket, we enter. So our maximum profit that we can get as a result of the limiting factor is 7,988. Okay?
Can you go back there, please?
Yes.
Yeah, on the maximum profit, can you go back there?
Yes, I'm there. I'm there. So maximum profit, what we do is, if this was not, if we did not do minus here, we are going to say this minus that. But already we have prefixed this with a minus. So now we have to add. Okay? Okay, any questions before we move?
Yeah, it's okay.
Good. I hope it's understood.